Hey, what's up, guys? Hylian Hero here, and it has been a long time since we've had one of these discussions, but we are here today to talk about the June Nintendo Direct that I'm hoping has been announced by the time you're watching this video. I'm here, joined by my usual co-host Slime, and are you excited for this Direct at all?
Uh, no, I'm more excited for the Switch too, but I,
I,
I
I
want I
knew,
want
I
to
knew it.
know just what we're gonna have in the next few months because otherwise we just have Luigi and Nintendo World Championships and that's it. We're done.
Yeah,
So
yeah. It's right now. I think I'm definitely not the only one here that's been very bored by Nintendo this year. Like, Mario vs. Donkey Kong was a cute little distraction. I think overpriced, but cute. Peach, very simple, was a fun romp, but it only took me like 7 hours to get through. And I've only really had great experiences with Splatoon 2's DLC, Splatoon 3's DLC, alongside Paper Mario finally. And it's just kind of like, oh, we're in June. Luigi's Mansion is kind of their last big game they have slated right now, besides Metroid Prime 4, but we need something here. I'm
yeah,
starving.
it's again. I don't need anything. I'm satiated. It just would be nice to know what we're getting between now and the Switch
Yeah.
too.
I mean, there's a few more little holes in the, I'd say, the lineup that would be nice to have, which hopefully we get, which I'm sure we'll talk in detail about here. I don't know either. I just know people weren't happy about it.
Anyway, yeah, should we hop into your our predictions?
Yes. Do
You
you want
want
to
to
go first or shall I?
are we gonna go like back and forth or like do you want to just read them off? I
I
can't
mean, I
remember
was
how
just
we
gonna
do
get
these.
let's do back and forth. It sounds more fun that way.
All right. Well, I'm gonna get the stuff that we already know. I think for a damn fact that we're just gonna get a one quick Luigi's Mansion 2 HD trailer and a Nintendo World Championships trailer just to get them out of the way. I don't think they'll be at the beginning, obviously, but they'll be in there somewhere. Um, but for the
I kind of
first,
I kind of think NES Championships is just literally going to be in the sizzle reel. I don't think they're going to spend too much time on it. It's very simple.
yeah, I mean, literally just hey, it's coming out. Like they did that with Link's Awakening, and it was already out at that point. So,
I think
um,
they're going to kind of treat it a little bit better than everybody 1-2 Switch, but they're about the same amount of marketing.
yeah. I still haven't got that. I want to get that physical version with the trophy. It looks so cool. But
Yeah.
I wish it was an amiibo.
I have no hype for the game, but all the physical bonuses, I'm like, I'm a sucker. I have to.
Yeah. But as for my first real prediction, I think the show will start with the Metroid Prime 2 and 3 remastered.
Really?
Um, I think so. I think it's a safe bet. Otherwise, the only other thing it would start with is a brand new game, but we don't have a. I don't think there will be a brand new game shown off here. Um, so yeah, I think
Right.
it's gonna start off with a trailer for Prime 2, and it's gonna be like oh, and then it's gonna cut halfway through and then show gameplay of 3 as well.
So I'm gonna be a contrarian here. Before I say this, my first announcement, I do want to throw out the possibility. I don't think it's super likely, just with how close we are to Mansion 2.
Hmm.
But it would not shock me if we did see like what they did with Pikmin, what they are currently doing with Metroid Prime, be like, hey, Luigi's Mansion 2 is coming out in a couple weeks. Play Luigi's Mansion 1 right now on the eShop for $29.99 or something like that. Do I think it's gonna
Potentially,
happen? At this point, I'm not super optimistic. I was a few weeks ago. Now I'm just kind of like, probably not. But it would be cool to have the entire Luigi's Mansion series on the Switch.
it
But
would
with
be.
my first, with the how I think the direct's actually going to start, every single time it feels like that there is a announcement in this series, it opens the direct. Fire Emblem. I think we're gonna get that Genealogy of the Holy War like Echoes remake, and I think that's gonna be what opens the direct. Because Fire Emblem always opens the directs. I think the last time it didn't was Three Houses, but I mean,
Mm.
Warriors did, Engage did, even way back with Fates. I think it opened the direct back in the day. For some reason, they love to open it up with Fire Emblem.
Yeah.
So
Um, I could see that. I have it on my list as well. I think I was imagining it as one of those middle focuses, but um, yeah. I have a question for you before I talk
Yeah,
about
go for it.
my next one. Do you think that we see Sonic X Shadow fanfics and Lego Horizons here?
Lego Horizons may just be like a scissor reel thing.
Okay.
Sonic, I do think it gets its own little like 20, 30-second little clip in the direct. I absolutely think so.
Now, what about Legends uh, ZA? I don't think so, but every once in a while they say, "Hey, Pokemon exists."
I'm gonna say no purely because I do think we get a Pokemon Presents at some point during the next couple months.
hmm
But if we don't, it's not completely out of the realm of possibility that we do see Legends ZA. For me, it just really depends on when in 2025 it's coming out.
hmm
Because like if it's pre-Switch 2, I do think it has a pretty good shot of being in there. If by some miracle Game Freak is delaying Gen 10 by a year and this is like our next summer/fall release, I think it'll probably be a bit until we see it.
I think it'll be a beginning of the year thing, but if it comes out before or after the Switch 2, it's not coming on the Switch 2. It'll
Yeah.
be available through backwards compatibility, but they're probably going to pull a black and white 2 situation, um, where it's just it they made a game for a system that's a generation old at that point. I don't know how they or why they decided to do that. Same with like Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. So uh,
Yeah,
I hope
that's a
it's
really
a
good point.
March thing, but it's just I don't know. We're in a weird situation. It's weird not looking forward to a Pokemon game at the end of the year. So
Yeah, I honestly won't lie. I'm kind of ready for it because I'm not the biggest Pokemon guy, so I
mhm.
won't lie. A year without it, I'm not
No,
super
we're
bummed.
happy, we're glad, but it's just like it's weird. It's like
I
if
want to
Call
see
of Duty
Pokemon.
didn't want like didn't.
It's like I don't care about Pokemon, but I always dabble with Pokemon. I want to see it thrive.
Mhm.
But one thing I want to mention before my next prediction is was Pokemon your prediction or was
No, I
that?
was asking if we are gonna see it because
Oh, okay. So before let you hop back over, I do want to say like I do think we won't see many of these besides if Prime Force shows up, which we'll talk about later. I do think there's going to be a good few smaller games that come out year one for the Switch 2 that are going to be cross-platform. Like I
right.
could see Pokemon, obviously, Metroid, maybe a 2D Zelda game. 'Cause I really don't think a 2D Zelda is going to be, oh, it's so beefy, it can only be played on the Switch 2. That it's also something that would make sense to sell better. But
hmm
yeah, just wanted to throw that out there.
It's weird because like I hope that there's only one, and I hope that's just Metroid because uh, I really don't want to buy two copies of the same game again. Um,
And don't buy two copies of the same game.
I, I, I want to. I want to.
Hey, if
I'm not. I'm
Nintendo's
Scott the
nice,
Wise. He
they will.
buys four Wii U's.
But maybe if Nintendo's nice, they'll be like, "Hey, you buy the version for the Switch because you want this, like, you want your complete Switch collection. $10 upgrade path. You get all the extra visuals. You get better frame rate, or maybe that just comes like when you put it in the Switch 2. Who knows? But it's Nintendo, so they might be greedy.
You never know. Well, they didn't ask for that for Breath of the Wild. They very, very much could have.
Ain't
Here's
on
30 more FPS for you.
it.
So my actual prediction here is gonna be the Kirby spinoff. I also had the Fire Emblem remake on there, but you also talked about that. But I have the Kirby spinoff thing. I don't know what it could be, but we haven't seen Kirby in quite a while, and I think Ant Dude needs to come out of hibernation. So
Do you think this is gonna be a physical spinoff or a eShop only spinoff?
eShop only.
Okay, I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, there was rumors going around a little while ago about Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. I personally don't want that to happen.
I mean, why
That
not
game wasn't
at this
great.
point? But
It's harmless. I didn't care for that game. I loved Canvas Curse on DS. I did not love Rainbow Curse.
I like the graphics, but it's gonna be
Oh,
hard to
it was
translate
gorgeous.
to TV mode. So
I don't know. I honestly, the more I think about it, I think if it was like how they did it in 3D World with like the cursor, if it worked better, I think I might prefer it because one of the biggest reasons I didn't like Rainbow Curse was they wanted you to look at the gamepad a lot and not at the screen with all the beautiful visuals.
Yeah. I don't know because it 3D World's pointer and Galaxy in that way is Galaxy is awkward as shit. I will admit the gyro
Oh,
is
it's
kind
rough.
of bad, but the 3D World one is just kind of extra, and it's like you don't need it. You can go through the
Yeah,
game without ever using it, but Can't vs. Curse it's integral to the game more so than Galaxy, and
it would always have to be on the screen.
yeah, it would be very like I said, it could be better, but it's also going to be really rough. But I
Yeah.
was more so envisioning like I don't know, like because I mean we got caught off guard by Kirby Fighters, but um,
Yeah.
like to see like one of the or like the pinball game from Forgotten Land just kind of expanded into its own
Oh,
thing.
that'd be cool.
Those type
That'd
of
be cool.
things, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Kirby's gets a game basically every year. This wasn't on my prediction, but I also don't usually predict Kirby. Kirby just comes to me.
Hmm.
Um, Before I go to my next prediction, I'm going to say something that will not be at this direct. I do not think we get Xenoblade X. I think they're
I
going to
heard
save
about
that for
it.
the Switch.
I don't know.
I think they're going to save it for either the Switch 2, because I mean, its 10th anniversary is next, like, summer in Japan, holiday over here. I think if they really wanted to, like, give it the full remaster treatment that one got on the Switch, that would be a great time to do it.
They they would definitely need to fix a lot of things about it because one, it was the first game that came after one, which
Yep,
a lot of the stuff that fans come to love about the series have changed and
it's
evolved.
not there. Yeah.
Now, obviously, that would be better fit for a X2, but I think this game is interesting enough to exist amongst the other ones because it is an MMO. Um,
Yeah.
and will it compete against 14? Probably not. But um, I think that they could do it would require a lot more work than just pushing that remaster button because
Yeah.
I think what fans have come to love about the newer games, they're going to want to implement some of those things and then quality of life things, changing the gamepad features, and like there's going to be a lot more work that needs to be done than just polishing it up. Um,
Yeah.
and so,
It's it's the black sheep of the franchise for a reason.
mhm.
It's it's funky.
It could work
So I
though.
mean,
I'm saying if they do put in the effort, it can work, and it could be
I
good for
wouldn't
people.
I wouldn't care if it never came back. However, it is one of the few Wii U ports that hasn't moved to either Switch or 3DS already. So I think it's fair to be brought up.
And as well, there's no alternate way of playing it either. They're probably gonna want to bring it back because the servers went down before the Wii U servers went down, and
Yeah,
with other Wii U and 3DS games, there are other ways to play games that have been discontinued. Your Mario Makers, your Splatoons. There's other platforms for those
exactly.
things. X is the only thing that's been left in the dust, unless they want to just straight up forget about it and never touch it again. But I don't think that's the
We'll
case.
see. I don't either. I think my next
Oh,
prediction. Do I go?
weird
What's
question:
up?
is Monolith and Monolith Soft different companies?
I think so. I honestly don't
I've
know
been
for
watching
100%.
I've been watching a lot of Ahoy lately. If you've ever heard of
Mhm.
them,
I think so.
just they do like a lot of retro like gaming reviews or like just kind of looking at the history of things. A lot of PC stuff like Commodore, Amiga, Atari, stuff like that. Um,
Mhm.
or DOS, I guess, not PC. Um, and they reference a lot of Monolith games, and I'm like, is that the same people? Like, it doesn't feel like the same people because they
No,
made,
I don't
but
believe it is.
it's weird because they started making mech games, which is what Monolith Soft likes to do, which is like Xenogears and uh, everything regarding the things in Xenoblade 2. So
So yeah, I'm just looking this up. Yes, Monolith. They've done stuff like Middle Earth, Shadow of War, Shadow of Mordor, um,
the Shadow series.
an old Matrix game, and yeah, a lot of older stuff. So they are absolutely two different studios.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna go with a couple of smaller predictions, just to get them out of the way before going back into bigger stuff. I actually am predicting we get some Dandori Pikmin 4 DLC,
I did
and
see
it
that.
shadow
Yeah.
drops after the direct. I think obviously no story content. It's the one reason why I personally don't think we see Wonder DLC.
Hmm.
So I mean, level packs would be really cool, but I also kind of think it's a little too late at this point because I'm sure in the next few months we're gonna start hyping up the next Mario.
Yeah. I think it
So
would be nice to have some sort of free DLC because they did that with Super Mario Party as well.
yeah,
Um, but Odyssey just had content riding up until its end. So, um,
yeah,
I would agree with you on the Dandori DLC. It's probably hopefully it's free. And
I could see them charging $5 for it or something like that.
but I didn't Pikmin 3 also have like some kind of downloadable content as well.
And it was paid, yeah.
It was paid. Okay, I didn't know that.
It was, I
I
believe so. Hold
I
on.
only knew it roughly from Chugga's like extra parts on his Pikmin 3 Let's Play, which I didn't watch.
Yes, they were $2 a piece,
Okay, so probably.
and there was like five different like waves, so it's like $10 total for all the
Wait, didn't
DLC.
Pikmin 4 come out before Wonder though?
Yeah, Pikmin 4. That's the thing though. I feel like Pikmin 4 came out a good few months before. However, I kind of feel like they have more room to expand Pikmin than they do with Wonder. Like,
Mm-hmm.
obviously they can expand with level packs, but I don't think either one of these is super likely. Like, if we go through this direct and we don't get any Pikmin DLC or Mario, I won't be surprised.
I I
But I think throwing in a few mission mode maps would be pretty simple.
I feel like my hype for those minor DLC packs kind of died when they said it was going to partner showcase in February. If we were going to get these, it more likely would have
Yeah,
happened in February.
I
But maybe
agree.
they could still be there. And like I said, that's where I'm like, okay, maybe it's free, so they just throw us a bone and then leave it.
Yeah. I don't know, like they've been weirdly advertising Pikmin 4 on their Twitter once in a while lately, and I feel like bringing people back in for a few more hours of Pikmin might be what they're going for, but it also just could be random advertising.
In between their conservative slandering that's going on right now. Oh, I can't believe that they added a transgender character. She's
I
been there forever. This is an old
no
game.
no joke. So I live in Oregon, and one of like the Oregon news sites I follow, they post this most like random headline that made it seem like they added this transgender character to the remake, and people were pissed, and I was so ticked off by that headline.
Like it's been there since the beginning. It was kind of implied by the Japanese like,
It was implied by Japanese, and it just took this long to get it acknowledged by the U.S.
and it's like I see people in the comments that are like, "No, she's not transgender. It's actually just a guy." And in my head, I'm like, "Well, if you played the original game, she would just be a woman, period. And if she's transgender, then she's a woman, period. So how much really did change, like in
Yeah,
actuality?" So I think you're just crazy. It's like, and I don't even
yeah,
like care particularly too much about that stuff, but like, she's always been a woman. I don't know what to tell you.
yeah. But I think the one other really small prediction that I think kind of feels obvious at this point, everyone's predicting it. I do think we see another Mario Party this year.
Ooh, maybe that could be nice.
It's either that or a Mario sports game, and I think they're gonna go. I hate saying it, the safer route, and just doing another $60 Mario Party.
I mean, I told you before, like I'll scream from the rooftops. I'm waiting. I hate sports games, but every year I'm like, baseball's coming, right, guys?
Yeah, no,
Baseball's coming,
that's
right, guys?
I was chancing it last year. I was like, this is going to be the year. Mario Baseball is going to happen. Strikers was shit. They're going to repair it with Mario Baseball. And then at the end of the year, I'm like, okay, it'll happen next year. I
Hmm.
hit that. We hit February. I'm like, okay, it's going to be announced in this direct. Obviously, we didn't get a real February direct. And I'm like, okay, it's just not happening at this point.
Yeah. Well,
Like, it's not happening.
if Nintendo is smart, whether or not it's a big
Which,
year or not for them, they will have a holiday title. And I believe, well, holiday is in quotations. They will have something for children to be happy about during this winter season. and I could tell you exactly what that is. And it's a brand new Mario and Luigi game.
Look, I love where your head's at. We do not live in such a perfect world where we get Super Mario RPG, Paper Mario that's knocking your door, and a new Mario and Luigi game in 12 months.
Apparently,
I love your world. I love it. I don't think it's time for Mario and Luigi quite yet. I do think they're coming back. I do not think now's the time.
I wish you were. I wish you were right because I would rather it be on the Switch too. But I think there's a Mario and Luigi game already made.
I would love that. I really would.
Or
I
alternatively,
don't
you
like.
get Zelda games that you've already played before 4 times.
Speaking of which, uh, there's been a lot of talk about Zelda going into this direct. Obviously, you've got Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, which that's the ones I think are gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the never-ending. Oh, Grezzo's remaking the Oracle games because somebody like 3 years ago said they were. Which I don't remember who started that rumor, so I don't want to throw shade at anyone, but I'm like, was it a reliable one? Or was it
I
I
wouldn't
can't
mind
remember
it.
their
I mean,
name.
people have been wanting it since.
I wouldn't mind it either, but I'm at the point where I'm like, either give me Wind Waker Twilight Princess or give me a brand new 2D Zelda game, which is another rumor that Papa Gino started, and I think really blew up because Midori threw out a code name that is similar to the Link's Awakening one.
Mm-hmm.
But I also don't think that implies that that's gonna come out this year.
Or
Like they threw out code names for like another Splatoon game. Splatoon 4 ain't coming out this year. Probably not coming out next year.
Splatoon's gonna happen. We already know this.
It will, 100%. Just like a new Zelda game's gonna happen. As long as we wake up tomorrow, there's gonna be a new Zelda game in production.
Just the moon starts falling on us.
This isn't the Majora's Mask remake I wanted.
Well, according to She Says, they think that we should get an Ocarina of Time Final Fantasy VII level reimagining where
And I think that's gonna happen. But it's not gonna happen until the 30-year anniversary.
Yeah.
In 2028. I do think Nintendo does care about anniversaries for their legacy games like that. And
for Mario.
I don't think Okay,
Sorry.
you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
Origami
But
King.
but look, like we just got Tears of the Kingdom last year. We're not getting a from the ground up expanded remake of Ocarina of Time
Right.
anytime soon. I'm sorry.
Which is why
We're much like go ahead.
I think it's already too much that we're getting 2 Zelda games this year, which in my head I'm like, okay, that's more reasonable because they're 2 games that already exist. They're just putting it on the Switch that have been waiting and sitting on the shelf. That's perfectly fine. But 2 HD remasters, supposedly a new 2D game or a 2D remaster, that's way too much.
I don't think we're getting all that. Like that's the thing. I am foot firmly in the ground. Not Kit Krista. Krista from Kit and Krista's in like one of her old videos basically confirmed that game. Both of them are sitting on a shelf somewhere. Midori brought it up recently. They are gonna happen this year. This is the perfect, in case of emergency, rainy day fun title, or titles if they don't want to bundle them, that they can just throw out throughout the rest of the year, that will make them millions and millions of dollars. That being said, I do think Grezzo's working on something Zelda.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a brand new 2D style game that Zelda's playable like Papa Gino's is saying? I don't know. Is it an Oracle remake? I don't know. But I don't think it's coming out this year. I think that's going to be year 1 for the Switch 2. If it's exclusive to the Switch 2, I'll be surprised. But I mean, they're still going to market that as a Switch 2 title.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's still going to build hype for the year 1. It's not going to be, oh, you can play it on the Switch, it doesn't count. It's still going to be a game in their 2025 lineup. It's going to be hype.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the last thing we should bring up about these, because we brought these up for almost 3 years now, is it going to be a bundle or are they going to charge $60 a piece?
I'm hoping, well, I don't know because How much was Pikmin 1 and 2 at launch? And
Pikmin 1 and 2.
compare that to content, like content scale.
So Pikmin 1 and 2 at launch, I want to say on the eShop they were like 30, 35 each, and then for the bundle it was 60.
How much were they 20 years ago?
Oh, a GameCube era, probably $40 a pop.
So do you think it's reasonable to say that because it's Zelda, they're both $60 a piece? Or is it that they could just bundle them like exactly how they did it with Pikmin and supposedly how they're going to do Metroid Prime?
See, I
Because
have a
Metroid
few ways of
Prime was
thinking of
40
this.
bucks. Was it 60 bucks? Was it 50 bucks?
It was 40. It was
Okay.
40.
So,
My line of thinking is I'm going back to Mario 3D All-Stars. I know that was an anniversary thing. I know it was special. But any way you look at it, I know 64 is not the biggest Mario game. That is still 3 full-fledged 3D Mario games. I know those are not the same scale-wise as Zelda. But they did that for $60. They did very little work for that content.
I don't know
And
why
from what
people
it
are so
sounds
bad
like, they aren't doing much work for Wind Waker Twilight Princess. Because it sounds like they've been done for years now. Not to mention, I think the only thing they'd really have to do is make sure it works with the Switch and get rid of the gamepad controls. That's really all they'd have to do. So it's very easy. Does that mean it's going to be a bundle for $60? I don't know. I honestly think they could be a little risky and try to charge $70 for it and do like $40 each on the eShop.
No. Oh, 40. Okay, I
I
thought you were
don't.
saying 70 each. I was like, no.
No, like they make like the bundle like a special thing. Maybe they have like a poster or something that goes with it. $70. If you don't want both, you can buy them on the eShop for $40 each.
Yeah.
I think that's how they're gonna go. I think that is gonna be alongside with Mario Party, their big holiday game. I do not. We'll talk about this when we get to Metroid, but I do not think Metroid Prime 4 is coming out this holiday.
No. It's coming.
I
It's
can't
a
see it
launch
happening.
title. It's 100% a launch title.
I actually don't think it's a launch title. I think it'll be launch month, but I think Mario is going to be the launch title. I think we get Mario day one, and then a few weeks later we get Prime.
And then a few months later, we get Mario Kart again.
Exactly, exactly. But Metroid Prime, well, is a very big game. It's probably going to be one of the biggest they've done since, alongside Tears of the Kingdom. Metroid is not a system seller like Mario is. Like, it will sell to the
Well,
hardcore, which admittedly is what they want to do at launch. But I really think they need that big 3D Mario to get frenzy.
well, I'm hoping that it's a Breath of the Wild situation where it's a revitlement and almost soft reboot of a franchise that
Right.
not necessarily laid dormant, but needed that extra oomph because Zelda was their Zelda not necessarily was a system seller, but at the same time is not the level of like hype that it gets today. Right, Tears of the
Oh,
Kingdom
absolutely.
wouldn't be the way like if the last game was Skyward Sword, Tears of the Kingdom would not be as big of a deal as it is now. Breath
No.
of the
No.
Wild took that step, was the launch title, and probably made the Switch what it is as well. And so what I'm
Mhm.
hoping is that Metroid Prime gets the same treatment so that Metroid is now treated more fond or treated better at Nintendo because I don't know whatever happened to Dread because that was weird. And that other people start taking Metroid more seriously because it's not worth $60. It's a 2D platformer is honestly baffling to me as a
It
person that
is.
doesn't play Metroid because this series hadn't had a new game since the Game Boy Advance, and even before that, it had a shitty 2010s.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like I said, I do think Prime 4 is cross-platform. They'd be stupid not to release it on the Switch at this point because A, they've been promising it the entire generation. And B, if you don't put it on the Switch, you're losing out to, probably at that point, 150 plus million people who already own Switches.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, the hardcore are going to buy Prime 4 day one on the Switch too. Like, whenever that game comes out, it'll be played on the best system possible.
So
But it is gonna be kind of held back by the base Switch. But I think it kind of needs to be so the series can have that really great shot at life.
So I'm curious about this, and this is a discussion I've been having with my friends a lot. and that a lot of people aren't upgrading to PS5s. And the reason for that is because 90% of the PlayStation exclusives are releasing on both PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. In previous generations, this would happen maybe 1 or 2 years on, mostly with your Call of Duties, your multi-platform games, and everyone was fine about it. They still upgraded to the PS4, they still upgraded to the PS3, and yeah, a couple of games released on there, but you had to play it on on PS4. Nowadays, it's like, well, you're pretty much getting a pretty similar experience, if not maybe a little bit better on the frame rate on the newer hardware, and people
Yeah.
aren't really think it's worth it to upgrade. Now, Switch is a little different. It's going to definitely be worth it to
Yes.
upgrade because we are on old technology that was old when it released. But
Yeah.
when I start thinking in my head, like, are people going to start saying the same shit that they're saying about PS4 when they release all their first party titles as well on Switch? And in my head, I'm like, well, Nintendo's different. They're going to release that one launch title like they did with Zelda, like in the past with GameCube, and they're going to release that one title that's cross platform, and then every other game is going to be Switch 2 only. And I would think that would be smart for them, but you're also right. You have a point that they would be losing a lot of their player base if they don't upgrade to Switch 2. And so it's a weird conundrum where it's like, okay, well, it makes sense for them to release on both platforms, but can they even do that?
Well, here's my thought process, and I was talking about this a little bit earlier. There absolutely will be a few games that do come to both systems if they come. Like, let's say we get Kid Icarus Uprising. That one I'm iffy about. Let's say we get a 2D Zelda. Let's say we get Metroid Prime. Those absolute the Pokemon. Those are gonna be cross-platform very early on. Like that will be first year. Those will come to both. But you're not gonna see Mario Kart. You're not gonna see the 3D Mario. You're not gonna see the next Splatoon, Animal Crossing, and Smash come to the base Switch. Like it's gonna be different. Like absolutely, these smaller, easier to develop games are gonna come to both. But Nintendo still has that old way of thinking where they want to make the best quality stuff to sell their console.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think right now the PS4 to PS5, the jump happened at the worst possible time. It happened during COVID. It happened right before a massive chip shortage. It was hard to get one. And I think a lot of people just got super comfortable with having a PS4. And it didn't help that Sony, Microsoft were just milking it and putting everything on these old systems.
Well, it's
So now
more
here
than
we
that,
are
too.
halfway, but we're halfway through the generation, and there's only like a handful of like, truly exclusive PlayStation 5 games, and it's not. I don't have a PS5 yet, and I'm not gonna get one until Tomb Raider or GTA 6 come out. I don't
And
have a need.
they're also like probably, I mean, Spider-Man 2 is great, but like they aren't really taking advantage of the hardware that they so like they have a good premise there. Like graphics, they PlayStation say it themselves. Graphics aren't everything because what they're selling is RTX. What they're selling is adaptive triggers. And Xbox is just you just got a bigger Xbox. Good job, buddy.
I
And they're
mean,
not
the
taking
thing,
advantage of the hardware that they have. They're limiting themselves.
yeah, I mean the thing is, they're still selling a little bit, I think, above pace that PlayStation 4 was. But right now, I really think the casual audience really doesn't have the need to move on because, like you said, they're still releasing 75-80% of their biggest games on last gen because first they don't want to, they're scared they're going to lose that money because how big budgets have gotten.
Yeah.
Thankfully, Nintendo's not going to run into that problem right now. So they can
Yeah.
still be like, okay, these smaller, like Metroid Prime 4, it's been promised for years. We have to deliver on that. Pokemon's going to do what Pokemon does. They're going to milk it for as long as they can until they have to move solely onto the Switch 2. And anything else small that they can put on both, great. But they're not going to limit their new 3D Mario game. They're
Mm-hmm.
not going to limit the next Mario Kart when 8 just turned 10 years old a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's they understand when to make something exclusive and when to give it that broader window. And Metroid, I really think is going to be that biggest exception is what I think is the right thing to say.
That's fair. Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I just, like I said, I explained why I think Metroid Prime should come first, but I think we got this pretty much the same
Yeah.
same understanding about what launch window looks like. I'm
Since
curious
since
too, like what other launch window games, because the Switch one, you had Breath of the Wild and you had Snipper Clips. So
I mean, not to obviously this isn't a Switch 2 discussion, so I'll make this brief. But I think first 6 to 8 months we get 3D Mario, Prime 4, Mario Kart, and I'm gonna be ballsy and say Animal Crossing. We may see a 2D Zelda, we may see a new IP, but I think Animal Crossing is gonna come before Splatoon this generation because it's gonna be about 5 years plus since New Horizons at that point, and we saw how big New Horizons was.
yeah,
So I think that'll be roughly the first like 8 to 12 months.
I think this discussion really just points out that it's going to be a slow year. I mean, there's a reason why we didn't have a direct prediction for the partner showcase, and
Yeah.
like we're ready for Switch 2. So like we're very unpassionate about this just because it's going to be either extremely box standard or nothing. So
That's the thing. I want to make clear though. If I finally get to shut up about Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, I get Metroid Prime 2 and 3, and let's say we get a new Fire Emblem game, a new Mario Party, I'm gonna be over the moon. Like
yeah,
I'm gonna have stuff to play the rest of the year. That being said, I'm excited because they're ports of games I've wanted already.
you and
This
GameCube
isn't
me.
big. No, seriously though, it was a great generation, but it's like this not for the sales, for me.
For
Um,
you.
but no, like the Switch is outside of a few exceptions, like no Star Fox, no new F-Zero or like a GameCube remaster. Once it gets Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, another Fire Emblem, Metroid Prime 2 and 3, it's gonna have all the Pikmin games, all the 3D Zelda, most of the 2D ones. It is literally the ultimate place to play Nintendo's new and legacy titles. Like this
Mm-hmm.
is honestly like of course there's a couple of games I would want, like a new Star Fox, Kid Icarus Uprising. But if I just get Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, and a couple more things, and that's it for the Switch, I've had a beautiful generation. Like
Yeah.
this is great.
Yeah, it's gonna be, oh god. I just like put myself in my future self shoes. I'm like, we're gonna look back on a great generation. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, how old's the Switch?
But that's the thing. I really do think going forward, I don't think Nintendo's gonna top this generation for me. It's because they can't fall back on Wii U ports next generation, so they're kind of stuck making more bigger games. So I kind of think we're gonna get a few more droughts unless they start like going back even further into the vault. But
Hmm.
this just kind of was the
A
perfect
new
storm they had.
a new open world ice climber.
But no, it's like they got almost every damn IP they could think of on this system, and come on, I got a new Pikmin game. I'm
You
happy.
got a new Pikmin game last generation too.
Yeah, but I got a new Pikmin and two Zelda games.
That's a first. I will admit that's a first.
And Banjo and Smash.
Oh,
Come
speaking
on.
of, do you think we see ukulele? Yuka replay?
No. I
Not
don't
at
think that's
all.
coming to the base. I don't think that's coming to the base Switch.
All right.
The
I'm
successor,
surprised.
absolutely.
I'm surprised they're even already. We're getting a remake of ukulele before we get a remake of Banjo Kazooie.
But no, we got ukulele, we got the Impossible Lair, which fantastic platformer. That is the best out of the two. But instead of getting us a new 3D one, I know they're teasing it. Like it's gonna happen,
Hmm.
but you're going from 3D to 2D and then a remake of your 3D.
Hmm.
Like that feels a little out of touch.
Speaking of remakes, though, and Banjo, there are rumors that saying Toys for Bob have been working on a remake of Banjo Kazooie. So,
I will believe it when I see it. I've been hearing this song and dance for years now. I'm I'm personally at a point where I'm looking over at my Banjo amiibo, I have a Banjo Funko Pop in my hallway, and I have Banjo Kazooie on NSO. If that's all I've got, so be it. I've moved on. I've accepted this is my this is my reality. If we wouldn't have gotten Pikmin 4, I think this would have been me with Pikmin right now. Just like,
So
it was a
anyway,
good ride.
the show is gonna open with Doom: The Dark Ages.
That game looks so good though. I don't want
It
to keep going
does.
on this. We have a topic to discuss, but the game looks so good.
I'm done. I'm capped. So I don't know if what else
That's
you
all you
got.
okay.
Yeah.
Um Went through my list. I watched Rogers Base's video and he was talking about a potential Mario and Sonic game. I think it's way too late for that given
Yeah.
Paris starts in like a month or two. I think that franchise is dead, but I wanted to toss
No,
it out there just in case.
Mario and Sonic is dead, but Sonic at the limit.
Sonic, yes.
Sonic can be at the Olympic.
I don't care about Sonic and his trip to the Olympics. I want the plumber.
Maybe they just give us
Um,
an actual Mario and Sonic game.
Please. Oh my God, I'm still shocked that hasn't happened yet.
What if we got like a platformer classics, just like Subspace Emissary, like just
I'd be
story
cool with
based
that.
platformer? That would be like Pac-Man,
Yes.
Mario, Sonic,
Mega Man.
Banjo, Mega Man. Like that would.
Yeah, that would go off. Okay, so talked about Fire Emblem, we talked about Pikmin DLC, talked about Mario Party, talked about Luigi's Mansion 2 HD and the potential of one Shadow Drop. I think the one thing I do want to touch back on, because I know we talked about it, I could see a possibility that if Prime 3, not Prime 3, if Prime 4 is a little bit farther back than we think, I think we could get two remasters Shadow Dropped and then like three after the September Direct or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's super likely. I kind of do think at this point we get like two Shadow Dropped and then like immediately at the same time they're just like Prime 3 Remastered comes out mid
Yeah.
August and that's when you can buy like the physical 2-pack or something like that.
I honestly think if we get Metroid, Zelda, and Luigi, I think they're gonna be treated exactly like Pikmin 4 was. We're gonna get a full scale trailer of Luigi,
Yep.
and they're gonna be like, by the way, Luigi's Mansion 2. We're gonna get a full trailer for Prime 2, and then they're gonna be like, by the way, Prime 3. Uh,
Yeah.
and then yeah, I feel like it's gonna be the exact same vibes.
But I do think Wind Waker HD, Twilight Princess HD, I think are basically a lock. I know there's still rumors about the 2D Zelda. If it happens and this doesn't happen, I will be very baffled. But a win's a win. A new Zelda, if it happens, I'm fine with it. Like I want it. I want either Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, or I want a brand new 2D Zelda game. I don't crave oracles right now. So
Yeah,
that would be my worst case.
it's
So
on
I'm hope
Switch.
I
Like you can
yeah.
play them on Switch.
That's the thing. It's like I if I was a betting man, which I'm not doing again, Jaden, I'm not doing again. Um, I would bet Wind Waker, Twilight Princess show up in this direct, bundle or not. They're both coming out this year. I'm gonna stick to my intuition. I think it will be a bundle. I will not be surprised if it is a $70 one
Hmm.
in retail. Um, and then obviously that and Mario Party will be the big holiday games.
I hate the thought of bundle nowadays because I bought that
I know.
Overcooked bundle. I was so
Oh
disappointed.
yeah,
I just popped that, and the
yeah.
one in Pigman 1 and 2, I popped it. Boop, oh, I wanted a menu, a cool little menu. Come on.
I know. Um, so I think just to throw out like a timeline, Luigi's Mansion this month, NES Championship next month, Fire Emblem in August. Uh, say Prime 2 and 3 either August or September. Wind Waker, Twilight Princess October, November. Same with Mario Party. All right, to end this off, do we see Prime 4 finally?
No, I think it'll be Switch 2 hype. I think it'll be.
Really?
I think when we get that Imagine Dragons trailer with the Switch 2, it'll show Metroid Prime 4, it'll show the 3D Mario game, it'll show Breath of the Wild as well, a couple other Switch 1 mainstays. And that will be the first time we see Prime 4. And then when we have our full-scale presentation for what the Switch 2 is, we'll have our first Prime trailer.
I'm gonna disagree. I do think this is what ends the direct. I don't think it's gonna be a massive blowout, but I do think we see
Prime Store
like
exists.
a minute of cinematics, like 30-40 seconds of gameplay. No, maybe we get the official like Metroid Prime 4 blank, and then 2025.
They just show the teaser that they had on Retro's banner.
Yes. It literally it ends with like the original like E3 2017 one, but instead of like the generic Microsoft Word like title, we get the actual one.
It's the exact same thing, beat for beat, yeah. And
yeah.
No, it
and
would
instead
be
of
even
saying
funny.
now in development, it goes 2025.
This is gonna be bad. I don't know if I'm even allowed to say this on here, so we'll find out when I upload it.
Oh no.
The spinning 4 that this shows, it kind of looks, obviously it's supposed to be the S, right? The Samus S, but I've been watching a lot of Wolfenstein. Just imagining like Samus versus the space.
No. Oh my gosh. I promise you, Nintendo will not be doing that. This is not Bethesda.
Man, or that symbol's in the Zelda game. I don't know what to tell you.
But I do think we see it. I think that's the one thing they can end the direct on, unless they're like, Mr. Awanuma's back. Thank you for supporting Tears of the Kingdom. I'm working on many Zelda projects. Here's Twilight Princess and Wind Waker, you fucking assholes, you impatient bitches.
No,
Here you go, play them today.
On screen
I'm
says,
done.
I'm deleting my channel.
Well, he did announce he's doing that.
Not
not deleting it, but he's gonna stop work. Yeah.
He finally comes on screen. He's like, "Wow, it's been a while, hasn't it?" Well, here's Kid Icarus.
Honestly, that is the other thing I could see ending this direct. But I do think that's a Switch 2 exclusive.
Right.
I think that if that is really happening,
I
think that's going to be
the Bondi thing.
I do. Until I'm proven something else as being that title, I do think that's it.
Man,
I mean, we still haven't seen any fruits of that.
I know this is a side note, but surprisingly, as much as I enjoy the Mario Kart hype cycle, I'm really clamoring for another Smash hype cycle again. I think we had a good break, but I at the very end of that, I'm like, Jesus, I need a break. Now I'm like, especially after watching that Xbox thing and them getting or wait, was it the Summer Games Fest or Xbox? I can't remember.
Which one?
But they showed the
what thing?
Terry and Mai coming to Street Fighter 6.
Oh,
I was like,
yeah.
I don't play this game, but holy shit, like.
I'm good without Smash for a bit longer. Like, if they treated Smash like they treated Mario Kart with the Switch, like, port the Ultimate Edition to the Switch with all the DLC on the cartridge, maybe add a few more characters, maybe do, like, a couple new modes, I'd be cool with that.
They should
I had a great run with Ultimate.
Treating Smash and Mario Kart like Call of Duty.
No.
Anyway, as my final prediction to end this video, I'm predicting that we're going to get a tease for the next Zelda game that is where Zelda is the main protagonist. And I have an image right here. Not AI generated. Definitely not AI generated.
Okay. To make this really a great video, I need you to say the words. I think we are getting Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD announced at this Nintendo Direct.
I already said that at the beginning.
Say it again for prosperity.
Okay. I don't know if I can do it, man.
I've been waiting years for this, my friend.
I'm gonna get close. You can. I'm wearing my Moist Critical cosplay today. I believe that Aang will save the world. I believe that Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD will come to the Nintendo Switch system, family of system, in 2024 in a $60 dual pack as well as $40 each on the eShop. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
You guys, if you've been watching this channel for a while, you would know I've lost $20 to this man for that game like a year and a half ago, and I've been waiting to hear those words for like 3 years.
Well, you
So
got him. So it
that
better
feels
happen
good.
now. It better have. If
Literally,
it doesn't happen
I will.
now, then I think you just gotta fork over your whole savings. Like at that point.
Absolutely, absolutely not. But I will say, in the event that it does not happen, I'm throwing in the towel for a couple years. Like I don't. I'm just gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna try my best to forget about him. Maybe miraculously GameCube will come to NSO and I can play like the GameCube versions
I'm telling you
in
right
the eighty
now,
dollar membership.
if it doesn't happen, you being the biggest advocator of it, Reggie himself will personally call you and say, "I'm sending you that one copy of Wind Waker on Switch that was on the shelf that Kit or Krista said. I'm giving it to you personally." Then I'll go back
Oh
to
my
playing
gosh,
Animal Crossing New Leaf on my Nintendo 3DS.
my Nintendo 3DS. Um, no, I think if it doesn't happen, and I mean the amount of uproar for these games, like I see it on Twitter and I like retweet like everyone I see. They get like thousands of retweets.
Hmm.
So I'm like, the demand is there. But hopefully Nintendo listens. They've been doing that a lot lately. So I'm a
Doesn't
little
that say it on
optimistic.
their bio? We're listening to.
Oh, they've been saying that for years. I haven't really bought it until recently.
Just every time I see an old Nintendo tweet, it's so weird. Like during the Wii era, it's just like, how do you have tweets from this long ago? Like,
Yeah. Um, just to close out, I'm gonna predict that the Nintendo Direct airs on Tuesday, June 18th at 7 a.m. Pacific.
I hope because I work at night, but it might be
Yeah.
3 p.m. Um,
So if
I
you're seeing this on Tuesday or Wednesday, June 11th or 12th for a June 13th release, I was wrong.
I'm going to be different. I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to say that it comes out on Thursday, June 13th, and this video will be coming up on the 12th, which sucks because then I can't release a normal podcast episode this week.
This takes priority. Come on.
This is not like a normal episode. This is like an impromptu thing when directs happen. So it's
It
like you
has
can't.
me. I'm special.
We have a lot of
Um,
episodes with you, which by the way, I'm going to talk to
not
you.
recently.
Well, it's about to be more if hype actually comes to pass.
Yes.
We gotta talk about Paper
But
Mario.
yeah,
I haven't opened it yet. Maybe I'll never open it.
I'm on chapter. I just finished chapter 6. I'm going into chapter 7, so I'm getting there.
All right. Anything
But yeah,
else?
I I'm hyped for this direct. I think that's just because we haven't had a direct in about 9 months now. I'm starved. I feel like I'm back in COVID times.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, I'm excited. I think this is going to be a really good direct. I don't think it's going to be one of the best directs ever because I mean, ports and remakes. It's not like we're getting Smash 7, Mario Kart X, and the next 3D Mario in this direct. So
Yeah.
it's like it's gonna be fine. Like it's gonna be a small direct, but it should be full of hype games. I think Nintendo's gonna be poised to have one of the best last year of a system that we've ever seen.
Mhm.
I'll say like the 3DS, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's all I've got to say.
Yeah. I'm similarly. I'm not as excited as you are, but I think you're just
I'm
excited
just like
because Zelda
I need
might be
more
there.
Nintendo. I am well. It's Zelda. Don't get me wrong. It is Zelda, but it's also we're 2 weeks away from like the last who like a game that Nintendo's releasing that people actually care about. Like no offense
That
to the NES
everyone should
Championship
care
game,
about.
but it's like it really feels like we're back in COVID time where oh they need to have a direct. We know nothing after Xenoblade. And then they just dropped the Paper Mario announcement on Twitter that one morning.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
but
I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you wanna take over, if you want to.
fine.
If you want to, you
If
don't
you
have
enjoy,
to.
if you enjoyed this video, give us a like. Comment down below your direct predictions and when you think it's gonna happen. If you made it this far, probably not. We know the drill by this point. And if you feel so inclined, follow us on our socials at CrazyCap Is it studios or podcasts? I don't remember. It's been so
Studios.
long. Crazy Cap Studios, and support us on Patreon. Anything helps. Thank you guys, and I'm sure we'll be here after the direct to discuss it. Bye, guys.